me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Let's go. Leave it to me. Let's go. Leave it to me. 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 Let's go. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me.
Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Woo, woo, woo. Leave it to me. Oh, we're back. Doing another show.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Kansas City. Kansas City.
Yeah. Good Eagles. Yeah. Well, most of America is probably saying, screw the Chiefs.
Sorry, Brother Joe.
Oh, man. Station, y'all, what is going on? We are back with our second show of the day, Super Bowl Sunday. I don't even know if anybody's going to watch this one because people got things to do. But hopefully they come on and say hello. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe they won't. This show, the second show of the day. Some people probably don't even know we did two shows. They'll be like, oh, they're on again? They're on still for 2 hours? What's going on with these guys? The same two books? What are they doing? They reenacted it in a different language? You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man. So, this is the amazing... Wait, what is this? Oh, the Big Herm show. I forgot what it was.
What?
That's What? John Stout? What? The Big Herm show with Primetime Tom as we do The Amazing Spider-Man number 59. The penultimate issue of the Zeb Wells JRJR run. Which is bittersweet and stuff like that. And of course, we're doing a bonus issue because we're going to cover the rest of this series too, which is the Ultimate Spider-Man numero cuatro, number 4. 4 of 4-ish. 4 of the 4s. Cuatro. You know what I'm saying? So, Ultimate Spider-Man 4 as we do all thing here. And of course, next week, our first primetime show of the year.
What?
As we cover...
What?
Primetime.
Primetime.
Saturday, 70s, we're doing The Amazing Spider-Man numero 60 of the Zeb Wells run. Legacy number 954 as we edge closer to that 1,000 mark. Ooh, 1,000. Can you imagine? That'll probably be a 1999 book with with like freaking, it probably this thick, you know, look like a trade, you know what I mean? Which will probably take us like 3 hours to cover, you know what I mean?
The Rec Rack figure.
Oh Lord, it better, yeah, right? You got the Rec Rack package, you know what I'm saying? So what is up? We are back. We actually talked about everything in the first show, so if you missed anything, we took a half hour to our record to just talk about the issue. It's a record setting half hour, you know what I mean? It was a very, very good record, you know what I mean? We're actually very proud of it, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, of course, also, like, we do have our guy Eric is in the house, so thanks for coming back, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure many people were gonna come back. It's Super Bowl Sunday, people probably already drunk, you know what I mean? Brother Joe, remember, you gotta remember the Super Bowl, so stop, you know, calm down. And of course, man, Super Bowl Sunday, I'm excited. I was watching some football. It's actually a holiday for sports fans. You know, it's a holiday for us. You know what I'm saying? But keep on keeping on. If you like what you're watching, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Ding that bell for notification for future videos so you can watch awesome, handsome guys like us talk about Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? And of course, everybody, all the Bad Batchers up in the house, everybody from Nick to Eric to Stu, you know what I'm saying? You know, Taqi, you know, Phable, you know what I'm saying? A bunch of us. Brother Joe, Bobby Le La Ghetto, you know what I'm saying? Scott, you know, the S-Von guy, you know what I mean? A bunch of us, you know what I'm saying? Spilio, you know what I mean? All those guys. Their links are down below in the box if you want to check them out. You know what I'm saying? Of course, like I said earlier, once I get to the thumbnail, I only have a couple of thumbnails here. I got the Blame Phable show. As I mentioned some of that. I got Eric Nine Panel Grid up in the house, you know what I'm saying? Of course, Robbie, you know what I mean? Taqi, you know what I mean? You see Scott right there, you know what I'm saying? You see my man Nick Comic Culture up in there, Stu, Dr. Doom Fan Club. All the guys, Brother Joe, you know what I mean? So, Friday nights, 9 p.m. East. Check them out. They just did a show on Friday. Watch that on the rewind. And, of course, they'll be back on Valentine's Day, which I hope they don't get yelled at by their wives. Because I was going to do that show, and then I was like, oh, shit. The wife might beat my ass. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully I can be back the next week. Hopefully then I'll be like, oh, sorry, Herm. We're taking another hiatus. I'm like, no! You know what I mean? And, of course...
You could always make it up to your girlfriend or wife by taking them to Captain America.
Oh, yeah, sure. But, babe, I'm picking up to you. We'll go see Captain America on Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why not? But, of course, my man, Nick Comic Culture, he had his little haul video from New Comic Book Day. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, his Nick at Night, last night, that came out. So, all the issues that he's going to cover is in that video. And then, of course... You could click on this show and check him out. And of course, my man Nine Panel Grid, he has his weekly show, and then of course him and our guy Stu has the Insight show, you know what I'm saying, which they cover in depth a lot of the issues they like, their favorites and stuff. I guess their pick of the week is in there or something like that. You know what I'm saying? The pick of the week. You know what I mean? Like Robbie would say. And they do awesome review shows. So yeah, man, our guys are killing it. Content on the YouTube all over the place. And of course, we already covered all this in the first show, and we still can go almost 10 minutes on an intro.
What's that again? What?
Yeah. So my man Primetime Tom, how was your almost hour wait? You know what I mean? Your rest, your lunch break. How was your lunch break?
Good. Yeah.
Did you have some breakfast already? You know what I'm saying? Because it's still kind of morning over there, right? It's like, what, 11 in the morning over there right now? Something like that? 11, 10?
I think maybe 10 or
10
something.
in the morning. Yeah. He don't even know. He was like, it's something there.
What's going on again? Are we doing a show?
It's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Are we just hanging out, or are we doing a show? What's going on here?
What? Are we hanging out?
5 o'clock? Oh, yeah.
Nobody came here to watch us be silly. My mom popped in at the end of the first show.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom. Station, Mom. Love you.
Station, Mom.
Happy Super Bowl Sunday, Mom. You know what I'm saying? Eric saying hello to my mama. You know what I mean? So, now we have to be very, 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 good, because we got to behave. My mom's in the house. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I can do the review of USM4 because I got barbecue sauce from all those wings I was eating.
Well, you gotta make sure you don't swear. You know what I mean? Like all the swearing we do in this, all the cussing we do on this show.
You mean like
what? Niccolo! What?
I think we're gonna have to get a swear jar here.
So keep on keeping on. In this show, we're covering The Amazing Spider-Man number 59. That's what I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Number 59.
59.
Spider 50. What? Not quite. Not quite. It doesn't hit. I think whatever. We'll get there. I'm confused right now. So so number 59. This is the cover. My man Primetime can't find his variant cover, so yeah. So I have to cover this one. I hope he found the other one, cause. Ooh. But you better find number 60. I don't want to hear no excuses. You better find that shit, all right? So of course, we got JR in the cover, and he's got a tombstone going, let's get crazy. Want to get nuts? You know what I'm saying? Just like, let's get nuts. And of course, our guy, Zeb Wells, is the writer. John Romita Jr. is the artist.
Oh yeah.
And Hannah and all those people are in there, you know what I'm saying? Joe Caramagna and that men's guy, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing a hard job right now.
And then that what's that editor? What?
Screw that guy. Let me do this right. Scott Hanna, the inker. Marcel Menz, color. And VC Joe Caramagna. I said that one, right? Or letterer. So those guys doing that thing, and then I'm not gonna mention that curse word you just said.
No.
That curse word.
I'd rather hear you say rec rap.
Rec rap, yes. The return of rec rap. No, just kidding. That's not happening. But
maybe later.
So as we start, we already see them going through the window because we saw that in the last one. So you're like ah, you know what I'm saying? And and Spider's like, let go, you. They crash right into a car. Very convenient. Very convenient. You know what I'm saying? So I guess they survived. Spider-Man survived. He's the one take the brunt of it. You know what I mean? And Spider-Man's all messed up. He's like, oh, I haven't seen this messed up since the Maximum Carnage series years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Ooh, he was really messed up there. And Spider-Man's like, oh, and Tombstone's like, are you ready to die for this? He's like, are you? Are you feeling lucky, punk? No, that's a movie. But you see Tombstone choking him out. No. Oh, what? But you see Tombstone choking him out. You know what I'm saying? And Spider-Man's like, I'm going to die. You know what I'm saying? But Tombstone's like, should have stayed out of this. It's between me and Janice. I see Janice going down the subway. You know what I mean? It took a long time just to cross the street. You know what I'm saying? Go to the subway? I don't know, but you know, it's comics, right? As you hear dunk, crack, as you see Spider-Man punch him in the nose, and then Spider-Man's like, leave her, and knocks him out of his way, because you know he was on him, you know, all that weight, all that pressure, you know what I'm saying? And Tombstone's like, oh, and then Spidey's like, no one's dying today, Lonnie. Of course, Tombstone starts running after Janice, and next page, we see it in the subway. Janice is like, wait, hold the doors, please. As you see Tombstone grab her by the hair again. He's obsessed with grabbing by the hair. You know what I'm saying? He's what a creep. But, you know, Janice is like, no. As you still see Tombstone all bloodied up from Janice scratching his eyes. More than scratching, dug right into it. And Tombstone's like, I wanted this to be clean, but I can't do it messy. I'm like, ooh, what's he talking about? What? What is he talking about? He's a creep. Oh, what? And of course, Spider-Man come out of nowhere. Family show.
Well, come on.
And Spider-Man to the rescue. Cool's like, ah! And he hits him WWE style with a light post. Where the Spider-Man just out of nowhere gets a light post. But, you know, I guess, you know, each his own, you know. Got it from outside. I guess he thought ahead. So. That's Janice's. There's only one Janice. She's like, thank God. She runs into the train as Tombstone starts looking at her. He's all like birds and all stars all over the place, and Spider-Man's like, she's gone. Let it go, Lonnie. He's like, oh, and Spidey's like, ah, as you know, they're both hurt, and out of nowhere, Tombstone clocks him in the head. And he's like, no. Spidey's like, oh. Tombstone's looking at Janice, and he tries to open up the subway. As I just saw, Tom, you disappeared. You okay over there? Can you hear me? Anyway, I'm gonna keep going. So you, can everybody, the two people that's watching us, can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. That's Janice. Boom, right there. And so it's that me gone, or is that the internet today? It's just not our friend. Guys, could you hear me? Please tell me.
Yeah. I hear you.
Okay. Is it me going away, or is it you going away? I don't even know. Who's going away?
What?
You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me see something. Let me see that. Put a pause for the cause. That's what Robbie says, but I don't know why I just said it, but yeah. Hold on, I'm trying to see. Sometimes I get to I just put my show on my YouTube on the TV to see if I can see myself. Because if I can't see myself, nobody can hear me. And if no one can hear me, I'm wasting my time. Hold on, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Hey, where are you? You dumb Keep it PG, Herm. Keep it PG. I can't see myself. What the heck is going on? Oh, wait, wow. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Hey,
Put 'em up.
Frank.
Put 'em up.
Come
Put 'em
on.
up.
Put him up. People are like, yo, this is very unprofessional. What are you guys doing? I don't know what you're doing. I'm here trying to get to my, see if I can get my, whatchamacallit. So, Tom, how was your day?
Pretty good so far, yeah.
Pretty, oh, come on, man. That's not what I wanted to watch. I'm trying to put my own show on, and I can't even find my own show.
No.
No wonder no one sees my show. No, I can't even find my own show. What's going on here? Damn, I should have. I forgot to like link in my show with the other ones. Maybe it's my fault, man. Damn, Tom. What the heck is going on over here? There we go. Where am I?
Probably one of those Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Yeah, well, I can't reach it, so I'm just keeping on right here. But you can hear me, right?
Uh-huh.
We got Taqi in the house. What's up, Taqi?
Station,
man. What's going on? Had some technical difficulties, so I'm trying to see if everybody can hear me. But Tom can hear me. I guess everybody can. So I'm gonna keep on keeping on. So Tombstone is trying to get to Janet in the subway. You know what I'm saying? As she goes into the train station, literally the car of the train, and he's like, no. And Spider-Man's trying to hit him with everything he can, and Tombstone with that rage, he just doesn't, he don't care, and you see him just running after it and getting right on the train. As it starts moving, and then Spidey's like, Lonnie, let go, and he rips him off the train as they fall off. Boom. And they're all going, and then you see Tombstone bounce a few sets, pom. And hear the honk as a train is coming. And Tombstone's like all dizzy and stuff. He's like, all right, you have my attention. And Spidey's like, let her go, Lonnie. It's over. As you see the train pass to Spider-Man's side, and then Tombstone's like, it'll never be over. And Spidey's like, she is your daughter. And he's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, okay then, we finish it here. And he's like, all right. And then as soon as the train goes through, Tombstone just goes out to Spidey. Let's finish it. As they scuffle on, boom, boom, meanie, just like, the show, the Bat Show, oh, Batman, what? But, as they scuffle down to the floor, punching each other, and he's like, pew, peep, you know what I'm saying? As finally, Tombstone just smacks Spidey, pah, take that, mother effer. And Spidey's like, and Tombstone grabs Spidey, he's like, you never could fight dirty. I'll make an exception, Spidey says, as he grabs Tombstone's hand and squeezes it, kind of breaks his hand a little bit, snap, and Tombstone's like, and Spidey's like, let's see you make a fist now. And Tombstone's still like, in pain. He still tries to make a fist right there. And Spidey's like, okay then. As Tombstone tries to punch Spidey, but Spidey ducks spider senses. And he's like, as you see a train come out of nowhere. And, Spidey can just let him die there. Why not? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't his fault. You know what I'm saying? Nope. Spidey pulls him out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls him out of the way, but he still uses the train to on the sides just to knock him. Tombstone's in pain. And he's like, feel better, Tombstone says. He's like, and Spidey says, I'm not doing this for me. You have to stop, Lonnie! As, again, Tombstone gives another punch. Pop! And then Spidey says, I said stop! As he punches Tombstone in the face over and over again. Kicks him in the ribs. And Tombstone's in pain. He's like, As Tombstone falls right in the track where the train is. And Spidey's like, Lonnie! And Spidey saves him again. And then you hear the of the train, and Spidey's like, he falls on the floor. And Tombstone's like, that's dumb. And he's like, now you're gonna die. And for what? And Spidey's like, And Tombstone's like, Janice is gone, like you said. You already saved her. She'll have walked away. I wasn't just saving her, Lonnie, Spidey says. You were gonna kill your daughter. I was saving. And then like Spidey's like, and he falls apart and he knocks out. And then of course Tombstone, his lights are almost out. He looks at Spidey with the piece of wood there, and he lets it go. And he's like, He tries to walk away, but then he falls. And he gets knocked out. And of course, to be continued, as you see a blackout right there. So Tombstone blacks out too. And they're both knocked out, out.
Mm-hmm.
As you see, the Amazing Spider-Man. Double spread here. So the penultimate issue is over. Boom. Just like that. All the action pack last action. I guess this is the last action before 60 because they both got knocked out. So the fight is over. And pretty much Spidey, like a Spider-Man issue always does, Spidey would have won, but he still saved Lonnie. And after that, Tombstone could have killed him, but he didn't have the energy to do it, and then he knocks out. So it pretty much was a draw. They both knocked each other out, and they both fall down in the tracks. And then, that's it. Now we got number 60 coming up next week. So,
yeah.
What you think about this issue, man?
Man, talk about another action-packed story, but with a cliffhanger now. You don't know if Tombstone's gonna wake up and keep wailing on Spidey, and Spidey's gonna die one of his many deaths, or what?
What? You mean the Joe Kelly run never happened?
What?
Spider-Man's dead? Oh, damn.
you mean Mephisto never undid their marriage? What?
Who? I thought it was a good action-packed issue. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like the last 3 issues is all fighting, which I love the fighting. So a lot of times we get all these issues. There's a lot of talking. I don't mind talking, story building, but there was so much story building that led up to this fight. I'm glad it wasn't just a 1-issue fight and it was over, or half an issue or something like that. So I like that. Janice ran away. She got to get away, and Spidey saved the day again, and risk his own life, save her, and risk his life to save Lonnie. The moral of the story is he's trying to save the man from completely losing his soul, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's more like people who believe in souls and stuff like that. Didn't think he would come back from killing his own daughter, kind of thing. So he's like more care about what he's gonna feel and stuff like that, and then of course protecting her at the same time. So kudos to Spidey, always saving the day, always being that guy. That can't help it. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna, he had a chance to end him. You know what I mean? He had a chance to end Tombstone, or look away, and he can't. If he has the ability to save someone, no matter what, even in a fight, Peter Parker will save you. You know what I'm saying? That's just what he does. The Spider-Man. And that's what Spider-Man does, man. So this issue was freaking awesome. Like I said, I love fighting issues. So my man Tom, if you grading this, what will you grade it?
I'd give it a 4.5.
4.5. Yeah, I'll give it the same thing. 4.5. Because this was basically the fight. You know what I mean? There might be some people, oh, another fight? You know what I mean? Yes. Yes, I kind of wanted another fight. I kind of wanted a good action. I wanted to last it long. Sometimes you see it be hyped for a fight, and it's like 2 pages or a page, and it's
Mm-hmm.
over. Like, oh, it's over already? But this one, they built it up so much that it was worth the 3 issues of they were just flat out brawling. You know what I mean? And just like into the bleeding. This was pretty much like a Mortal Kombat type issue. You know what I mean? They put all the blood in there, so you didn't see a poly bag or nothing, but you saw some blood in this one. Maybe they should have had a bag over it, have like a clean version, and you put the cheat code in, and boom, you get this issue. You know what I'm saying? But 4.5 penultimate was amazing. I don't know how they're gonna. I mean, we kind of read the issues, but I kind of don't 100% remember what happened in that issue. I know some things that happened, so I can't wait to reread it. I know there's other things like the side stories that happen, which, yeah, we could talk about that next week on Saturday. But right here, boom, issue number 59. We both rated at 4.9, 4.5, and excellent fight. If you enjoy just watching fights, they're not hard to read. They're quick reads, but so much fun. So much fun. I like I said, the Tombstone run, my favorite part of the run. If you just read the Tombstone stuff, that'd be cool if Zepros. I'm sure Tom agrees with me. The Tombstone stuff is really awesome.
Oh yeah.
And of course, that's it. As I take a sip, we're done with our first book, which is our third book of the day. And good. Taqi says he can hear me, so that's good as I go through
good.
Technical difficulties through the first show, and now this one is looking like it. So, without further ado, we're headed to issue number 4 of the Ultimate Spider-Man. And before we go to get to, he actually has his copy.
Oh wow. Cool.
And before you go on, the first 3 issues we did cover in the past. You can go on the archives in my channel and check that out. It was a lot of fun. To touch up, of course, Spidey. This is a different world. You see, the Maker changed everything of the Ultimate world. So a lot of superheroes like Spidey never got their powers, stuff like that. He shut down all of that. So we have Tony Stark try to change that, the son of Tony Stark too. And for what I remember. And yeah, you saw the first issue. You saw Mary Jane, and he has 2 kids. They actually got married, and 2 beautiful kids. The interaction between Spidey and the daughter, father and son, as she discovered that she was the first one to discover that her dad's Spider-Man. So going into this issue, nobody else knows except for what's his name? Osborn, Harry Osborn, who is the Green Goblin in this with a nice, awesome suit. He kind of discovered who Spider-Man is and starts talking to Spider-Man about, you know, you haven't told MJ yet, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm jumping the gun. You're gonna cover that right here. Oh, my bad. But you'll cover that in a minute. But in those 3 issues, you see the Green Goblin and Spidey's relationship with him. You see Spider-Man learning how to be a superhero, but keep messing up. You know what I'm saying? As we've seen and stuff like that. But of course, JJ Jonah Jameson quit the Bugle, and who's still alive is Ben. Uncle Ben is still alive. So and Aunt May's the one that died in the big tragic explosion and stuff like that. So this is where we at. So I hope that's a cool short synopsis of things that happen. But I don't want to say too much because I don't want to. A lot of people probably read them, but spoil this particular issue, which you're covering. So there you go. Keep on. Go ahead. I thought that was a good synopsis. I hope so.
Oh yeah. So of course we have writer Jonathan Hickman, of course. Guest artist
Great.
David Messina. We got VC Corey Pettit, the letterer, and of course the good our man Marco Cicchetto, I think is how you say it.
Chichetto is actually the wrong way of saying it. Chicheco or something like
Uh,
that. I
oh,
say Chichetto until I get it right. But I like to say it right because a lot of people said James Tynan name wrong for so long.
mm-hmm.
I got it. Like once I figure out that it's Tynan, I stop saying Tinian or whatever else people say. So one day I'll get Chicheco's name right. I think that's the name, but we don't have him in this issue though. So a lot of people kind of bummed about it with this issue, but hopefully we like the art. We'll talk about that a little bit later, how the art was in this issue comparing to Marco, But keep on keeping on, Mr. Tom.
All right. So it's April. It's early evening, and we, open on MJ and Peter at at a restaurant. And she's like, "Are you sure this is a good idea?" He's like, "No, but," and he's like, mumbling under his beard as he's drinking coffee or something. He's like, "Well, at least it gave us an excuse to get out of the house, dress up a little." And she's like, "Yeah, that's true. And I must say, you clean up very nicely, Mr. Parker." And they're getting all mushy. He's like, "Well, I run with a tough crowd. I'm just trying to keep up." And then, speaking of an Osborn, here comes Harry. He's like, "Sorry, I'm late." So I guess they're meeting Mr. Osborn there for dinner. So him and Peter, they shake hands, and it's like, "Well, how everything's going?" He says, "You find the place all right?" And Peter's like, "Yeah, we found the restaurant all right." He's like, "Yeah, sorry about that, Peter. This is a tough crowd, kind of an expensive restaurant." He's like, I do eat here once a week." And he's like, "Oh, Harry, I want you to meet my wife. This is MJ." And then she's all like, "Oh, I've heard a lot about you, Harry. Very nice to meet you." And he's like, "Oh, pleasure's all mine." He's like, "Peter's told me a lot about you." She's like, "Well, they call that being in love. I admit, I had a bit of a branding issue lately." And Harry's like, "But you're on the job. Speaking of, congrats on your new business. I love it when people bet on themselves." She's like, I forget how terrified I am." He's like, "Well, I hear more people, call that being excited, being in love." And she's like, "I can see why you like Harry so much now." So Harry's schmoozing MJ. And then they're like, Peter's like, "Well, where's your wife? Isn't she supposed to be coming?" And Harry's all like, "Well, yeah," he's looking at his phone. "Yeah, she should be here, I think maybe any minute. She had some stuff to do." And then all of a sudden, he's like, "Peter, MJ, this is my wife." And then,
Who is that?
people, Gwen Stacy.
Yay!
What? She's
like,
she's like, "Sorry, things got a little complicated back at work." And she's like, "Hello, you must be Peter." He's like, "Yeah, hi, this is MJ." She's like, "Hey there." And then Harry's getting all schmoozy with Gwen.
Ooh.
He's like, "What was the holdup with the meeting?" She's like, "Well, old school executive types. I tried the carrot, put the carrot before the cart before the horse, that whole thing." She's like, "Nothing to worry about." She's like, "I'm starving." So it opens up, and MJ's like, wow, this place is great. And then Harry's like, yeah, there's a great chef here. He's from Argentina. And Gwen's like, no. She's like, Uruguay. And Peter's all like, man, it's been a long time since we've been on a date. And MJ's like, yeah, we haven't been on a date since BK, baby. And Harry's looking all annoyed, like, what the heck are you talking about? He's like, wait a minute. Oh, before kids. And MJ's like, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's all like oh, Gwen and Harry, do you have any children? And Gwen's all acting bashful. She's like, well, not right now. She says, I think I'd be a good mom though. We're considering it though. Peter's like, yeah, it's the best. Being a parent is the best. And they go on to talking more, and then Harry's like, well, we've been married for, who knows, time flies when you're having fun. And Gwen's all like, 8 years, 3 months, and 7 days or something like that. And 2 leap years. And Harry's like, yep, the culmination of a lifelong pursuit. But enough about us. What about you, MJ? She's all like, what? Why are you interrogating me? Peter's all like, yeah. He's like, MJ, she started a PR firm. She's kind of a bit of a marketing genius. And Gwen's all like, oh, how nice. She's like, I want to know more. How did you get started? MJ's like, well, I used to be a model. And that was fine. I was doing some, started handling my own branding. People liked what I did. And people picked me up, like this law firm. And, I was handling things for them. And Gwen's all like, really? She's like, oh, that place was an interesting place. And MJ's all like, yeah, interesting. Kind of gross, because I kind of had to do the damage control. And she's like, yeah, now I'm on her. I was on a retainer, and it's okay for Peter to talk about me and stuff. Peter's like, yeah, sure, why not? He's like, he's like, you mean it can't hurt their feelings, and they don't change their minds. He's referring to Harry and Gwen. And MJ's all like, well, last week I started helping out J. Jonah Jameson and Ben. And she's like, then we came up with a name. So it cuts back to Peter and MJ's place, and J. Jonah and Ben are sitting there talking back and forth. And then J. Jonah's like, man, we don't do paper anymore. We're doing everything on computer. He's like, it doesn't make sense to call it the paper. It's supposed to be like iconic or something. Mm-hmm. And Ben's all like, well, it was nice of you to stop by just to complain about it. Usually, like J. Jonah does, complains about everything. Mm-hmm. And Ben's like, and I think the word was fine. And then Jonah's like, well, I don't know. It kind of feels right. It's clever, And Ben's like, but yeah, I do. I understand that. He says it has that certain something to it, Don't you get it? And J. Jonah's like, yeah, maybe I do like that. Kind of generic in the right way. You take out a vowel, kind of have it like be like PAPR. He's like, but yeah, I die of embarrassment. And then probably my favorite part of this whole thing, their daughter, she's like chiming in. She's like, Uncle Ben, when is he going to leave? Like what, Jonah?
She's so rude.
And then you go back to, the dinner, and um, MJ's saying, yeah, the paper. And they're all like, oh, the paper sounds great. Harry's like, I get up every day and I think to myself, what I really need in my life is more news. I mean, I just love it so much. And Gwen's kind of all pissed off, like, Harry, you're being so rude. And he's like, no, 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 I'm just being a little sarcastic. I'm just joking. And he's like, but Dad always said, when it comes to the news, he says, you got to make sure it's the right market. He says, it's a closed system. And Peter's like, what do you mean closed system? Harry's like, you'll see. And then Gwen's like, well, I don't know. It depends on, what they cover and how deep they dig to get their stories. And then MJ's like, yeah, we're going to keep going, we're going to keep grinding, working it until, we find our niche. And Gwen's all like, well, what about the pictures that Peter's been taking of that guy swinging around the city? And, Peter's like, he's like, well, yeah, what about it? He's like, I just point and shoot. And Gwen's like, well, those are such great pictures. And so she goes on and says, there's got to be some reason that this guy's swinging around and kind of keeping his identity secret. And she's like, maybe he's a bad guy or maybe he's a good guy. She said, either way, you could swing it and make it work. And then she says, but it implies that something's wrong with the world if he's a hero. Maybe that's what we're looking for. And Peter's like, oh, I can see you thought this one through. And she's like, people need heroes, Peter. And if your uncle's going to report on that, good for him. Maybe you could let them see some of your photos. And he's like, but I work for the Bugle. I'd probably get in trouble with Robbie and he'd probably get fired. She's all like, well, you always will if you have that attitude, mister.
Mm-hmm.
So Peter's kind of like, okay, that went well. And Harry's all like, hey, CEO of a $1 billion company. He's basically saying, Gwen, shut up. He's like drinking his wine. He's like, well, if you think about it, she's not wrong. And she's like, okay, well, fair enough. I've said my piece. And so MJ kind of tries to fix everything. Let's go to the ladies' room and do lady talk. And then you cut back to Peter and MJ's house, and Ben's having a moment with the son. And what's his name? I forgot.
Richard.
Oh, yeah. And then Richard's like telling Ben, I really like the idea. I like the name of what you're doing with Jonah, and people love to read. He says it's really cool. He's like, everybody should read. And Ben's like, yeah, sure, but you got to give them a reason to.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, which can be a little tricky. So that kind of goes back to what they were all talking about at dinner. Like, oh, people need heroes, and there must be something wrong if he's a good guy. And it's like, well, we better get you to bed. He's like, want to watch some TV? And Richard's like, nah. And Ben's like, good boy. And you cut back to the ladies' room. Ooh. Gwen's all like, oh, I love that color on you. That lipstick.
Mm-hmm.
And MJ's all like, well, thank you. So they're sitting there talking back and forth. And Gwen's like, I have a question to ask you. She's like, am I coming on too strong tonight? And MJ's like, no, you're fine. She's like, well, great, because I had an idea. And so she's basically like trying to headhunt and recruit MJ to help her. She's like, well, you probably know this, but if you didn't, Oscorp took over some Sans Stark or whatever a few months ago, some other business. Ever since then, we've been scaled up in unexpected And I expected wave. She's like, to be blunt, we have too much money. And I've been exhausted, all the normal charities and donations and various nonprofits. So she's basically saying, yeah, I could, give money to you and Peter. And I'm just like, what, are you insane? She's like, Peter and I would never take in. And then Gwen's all like, I guess that came out wrong. She's like, sorry, that's not what I meant. That would be weird, right? And I'm just like, well, yeah. And so MJ's like, well, what are you getting at then? And Gwen's like, well, I was hoping, since you're their brand manager, that you could maybe set something up with me in the paper. So you can see Gwen has some ulterior motives.
Mm-hmm.
And then comes the big moment, probably my favorite moment of this whole issue. And Harry's confronting Peter. He's like, Peter, he's like pointing his finger at him. Have you told them? Have you told her? He's like, well, no. He's like, well, I told her. He's like, you told Gwen? He's like, yeah. He's like, how much? And Harry's like, well, everything. He's like, oh, God, Harry, what were you thinking? And I love the expressions.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter's basically like, Harry, why did you tell her you're the Green Goblin? You know how much trouble that could put you in? And he's all like, Harry's like, I'm thinking that I love my wife and we don't have any secrets between us. I want her to know the truth. And then he's like, Peter, you're really not telling anyone? And Peter's like, well, my daughter caught me in the costume. And Harry's like, well, there you go. It's like, for a second there, man, I thought you were just holding back. And he's like, I thought you were going to lecture me about the importance of keeping secrets and whatnot. And Peter's like, well, it is important. He's like, I have a family to protect. He's like, I think it would be ridiculous to tell MJ. And Harry's like, you seriously think you can live this life and protect people that you love? He says, we're trying to save the world here from the maker. And Peter's like, I don't know. That just seems like way too much, saving the world. And he's like, I'm just happy that I can fight crime and stop the bad guys. And Harry's getting really irritated. He's like, I've seen what you can do. You're special, Peter. You have special abilities. You need to use those.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm not going to tell you what you have to do, Peter, or how to do it. It's not my place. It's not my call. You have to decide that for yourself. And then the iconic line, he looks at him all seriously. He says, but you need to understand one thing. These people, the maker, they're playing God. They're playing for keeps. And more than that, they've been doing it our whole life. It's institutional. It's systemic. It's the whole dang world. And you have great power. And with great power comes great responsibility. It's like, it's such a gift, but only if you use it. And then we have the casual stroll of the couple after the whole dinner. And MJ's like, well, how do you think that went? And MJ's like, well, they were kind of nice, but they were a little, Peter's like, scary. And MJ's like, yeah. She was like, it was equal parts personal and then insane on the other part. But the food was great. Peter's like, yeah, it was great. And he's like, well, what did you think about what they were saying? She's like, about what? And he's like, well, about heroes. So it makes you wonder right there if he's going to open up and finally tell her. And she's like, well, Peter, you're all the hero I need. This is to be continued.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a reader.
Yeah, yes. A Jonathan Hickman type of
Yeah,
issue. Yeah,
a
but
lot going on.
plenty of going on. There's, like with Hickman, you're gonna get a slow burn at times. You know what I'm saying? And there's some people who I don't think they love this issue because there was a lot of the talking, even
Mm-hmm.
though it was revealed, the big reveal. Gwen Stacy is the one, married to Harry Osborn. I think they said they were married, right?
Yeah,
And which I thought was pretty cool.
yeah,
Cause like you see why Gwen never was on that bridge. She never was dropped. So
right.
her
And then
not
Harry.
knowing Peter kept her alive. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And Harry's the one that delivered the iconic Uncle Ben line. I wasn't expecting that.
well, he said it wrong. It's
Oh, that's right.
with great power must also come great responsibility. But I don't know if Hickman did that on purpose or because a lot of these writers get it wrong. The movies get it wrong. You know what I mean? But that's actually the actual saying. And a lot of people, oh, you're a nerdy Spider-Man fan, but it is how they say it.
Yeah, like
But
Star Wars.
nevertheless, it was
And
Harry
so-
Osborn. Yeah, it was Harry Osborn that told him, which is pretty interesting. You think you'll still get that from Ben, but Ben doesn't know his secret identity.
Yeah.
And of course, the whole keeping MJ out of the loop still, even though the daughter knows kind of thing. And Harry's like, yeah, I told Gwen, you know what I mean? And Peter's like, what? Why would you? Peter's trying to protect his family by not telling them. And then Harry's like, nah, you need to tell them. They need to know kind of thing. Which I kind of agree with Harry. But I understand why Peter still keeps a secret identity. But you see that Peter struggles with that even as an adult. He covered that when he was a teenager, going into an adult with the experience and all that. And now this Peter, he's still new. His superhero stuff is still new to him. He just, doesn't have the experience yet. And I kind of see like you see Gwen like a kind of a businesswoman type thing. So her personality might be a little different if you read any of those earlier issues, those Jerry Conway issues with John Romita Senior and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You would see that. You know what I mean? You would see like Gwen was kind of a different character there. With this one, she's more of a businesswoman. She was always smart and stuff like that, but I thought it's pretty interesting. It's a little different kind of thing,
Yeah.
and as you're gonna get to see more of her in the future issues. And what else? Before I talk about the art, what else? So yeah, so the whole conversation with them and all that. I love that the daughter's like not liking Jonah. It's always like she knows about the other world and she doesn't. But there's something about Jonah she just doesn't like, which is pretty cool. And of course the son, is a book nerd and he loves reading and stuff like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of, I guess his dad was kind of like that when he was younger. Yeah, so I thought the issue was pretty decent. Good issue. I like I said, this run, I love this run. I love this one of my favorite runs going on right now in Marvel. And the conversation was good. It's good story building. And of course, you see the difference between Peter and Harry Osborn, like the way they think. And Harry's more of a hands-on guy, like go, and then Peter's like more, take it back and like think about kind of thing. You know what I mean? Which you get to see, and then of course at the conversation at the end between Peter and MJ, and you like you said, you thought she was implying that he was gonna tell her, and he didn't, and they just kept walking. So that's a good little cute little ending with them walking romantically down the street. So before we get to the grades, the art, like if you've seen the Marco Cicchetto art, it's so good that um this guy, what's his name again? Um the artist here, the guest artist, you studied and everything. I can't even remember his name already.
Oh,
Guest
man.
artist David Messina.
Yeah.
His art was pretty good. Like you said, his face expression and stuff like that. I thought he did Norman Osborn pretty well because this Norman Osborn is totally different from the Norman Osborn of old. The other one, he's more dweeby and not very confident. If you remember,
Oh, you mean
this Osborn, Harry Osborn, yeah, Harry
yeah?
Osborn.
You said Herman.
Um, yeah. So Harry Osborn was and this one he's more confident. He's more handsome.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I thought this particular artist drew him almost like Marco did, and Peter looks the same. The Gwen, she looks pretty cool. Gwen,
When,
the art now,
yeah, when
but
they
his
introduced
MJ,
her,
what happened?
when they introduced her, like the full page,
Mm-hmm.
it was like beautiful. Kind of
Yeah,
reminded
yes,
me of the first time you see her.
she looked great.
Mm-hmm.
But on the contrary, his MJ, there was sometimes very consistent with the MJ. Like, what the hell is that? Marcus Cicchetto drew her so beautiful
Mm-hmm.
that there was like some expressions with the MJ. The MJ was the Peter was done well. Like I said, everybody else was done well, but the MJ was like sometimes like that's MJ. You know what I'm saying? It's like you see Gwen. Gwen looked great
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But I didn't like too much his MJ. You know, like I've heard some people like not like the this about
Yeah.
that issue, and I see it. It's not too much to draw me out of it. Some people get drawn out of the art and stuff like that. That doesn't distract me as much. But I did notice it. So if I'm gonna give this one a grade, um, I love the series so far. I don't think there's any book for me that's under a 4. But because the MJ was done a little wrong, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll deduct it from the 4.5 and I'll give it a 4.2. You know what I'm saying? Because it's still an excellent book. It's still the confrontation between, you saw the friendship between, building between Gwen and MJ, sort of kind of thing. Because they were friends in the book before. Um, so the whole Harry and Gwen, which they technically did date in the past, like sort of, and then she ended up with Peter Parker. But it's pretty cool that, to see her with them, and I kind of see how that progresses in the future, and to see if MJ and Gwen really becomes good friends, or it was just an acquaintance between, they were just playing nice for their husbands and stuff like that. So 4.2, I thought was pretty good. What grade do you give it?
I would I would say a 4.0.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Okay.
our guest guy, obviously isn't Cicchetto, but I think he did good with Gwen and Harry and Peter.
Yeah, that's a good grade. It's still a really good book. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be books graded higher than that. I don't see anything under the 4, as I read through, but we'll see. But yeah, that was Ultimate Spider-Man. So I'm excited to get back into the Ultimate Spider-Man world.
Oh yeah.
It won't be to a few weeks till we go back to Ultimate Spider-Man. Like I said, next week we're doing the Amazing Spider-Man 60, which is legacy number 954. And this one's gonna have like a bunch of people. Our guy Ed McGuinness. So Patrick Gleason is back in this issue. Of course, Joe Kelly writes a few things and stuff like that. So that's probably all the extra stuff. But of course, Zeb Wells, John Romita, Scott Hanna, Marcio Mins, they're gonna do the main story. So we're gonna cover. That's it. The last issue of the Zeb Wells run. Next, well, actually, I keep saying next. It's actually this coming Saturday, 7 p.m. East. We're gonna cover this issue, which should be fun. I remember liking the main story, not loving a lot of the extra backup stories. Even though me and you do enjoy the backup stories, there's a lot of people that complain about them, and do we really need it? I prefer the entire issue to be the main story, the finale, like kind of like what Dan Slott did and the end of his run. The big finale, even though he had an issue after it, that was pretty good. Dan Slott finale, the whole 99, it was 999 book, 80 pages, whatever it was. The whole thing was a story. It was pretty cool. But we get what we get with this one, and hopefully you guys come back Saturday night. Check us out, and of course, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ding that bell for notification for future videos. And we still managed to go a little over an hour, even though we're doing no show and tell and 2 books. But it was worth it. You know what I'm saying? The Ultimate book was worth it. I can't wait to cover more this year. And like I said on the first show earlier today, after we're done with this, we're kind of doing there's 12 issues of the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man plus the dot death issues, including those. And we're going to do 4 issues a show. We're not going to do a read-along kind of thing. We're going to review the book. We might go page to page, but we're going to review the book just to see, remind us of stuff that's happening in those issues. Because there's a lot of reading happening in those books, and we kind of like want to move the chain a little bit and get caught up. So March 26th, I think, is the last issue of the 8 deaths, and then like April starts the relaunch, which they're going back to number 1. Which the legacy number will be like what 64, so it might be 965 or something like that with the legacy number of that one, which brings us very close to the big 1,000. Yeah. So and of course they starting for 1. That's gonna be a big book, and then like when they go to 10, or maybe when they go to 25, they're gonna do a 25 issue, and then the 1,000's gonna come. You already know what Marvel does.
Yeah.
But till then, can't wait to cover this one, and we'll let you know what we think about the 8 deaths. Like I said earlier, I haven't been enjoying it too much. I can't wait for the reread. Maybe I'll enjoy a little more, but it ends up going to a direction where I knew it was going, and even Eric is starting to see why you like it at first. But yeah, so I hope everybody enjoys as we back better than ever, like Mike Greenberg will say in his shows, and I can't wait to cover it. I know my man here can't wait to cover it either, right, Mr. Primetime?
Oh yeah.
So of course next week I can't forget to talk about our favorite segment. Will be back next week after this, after we cover
favorite segment. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Favorite segment. You gotta have, you wanted that show and tell.
Oh, show and
Tell. What happened next week on Saturday night prime time? I have a few good things to show, and anything else you want to tell anybody, Mr. Tom, before we get out of here?
I know I mentioned it in the past. I don't know how many shows ago. I think we talked about it at one point, maybe covering Craven's Last Hunt.
Yeah, it'll be a while before we're able to do that, because those are deep issues too. So hopefully, finally, when we get back on track and we're covering the issues, back to normal. One of the issues we have nothing that comes out, we'll cover Craven the Last Hunt, and then we'll think about future shows like that. But till then, we're gonna do what we gotta do to get caught up. You know what I'm saying? So Guys, thanks for coming on. If you're watching this now or on the rewind, I appreciate it. We appreciate it. I hope you enjoy this. Us, it's just Spider-Man fans acting silly. And of course, if you don't really read Spider-Man, you can just hang out with us and see what's going on in the book and stuff like that while you're cooking or getting ready for the Super Bowl or something like that. You know what I mean? It is Super Bowl Sunday. Hope for you who watching it, enjoy the game. Or for you watching for the commercials or watching for the halftime show, Kendrick Lamar. They're not like us. They're not like us. You know what I'm saying? So enjoy the Super Bowl, my man Primetime Tom. See you next week. Till next time, guys. Peace out. Much love. First mother. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum.